Frank Sabatella is a producer and director known for movies such as Blood Night, The House That Cried Blood, Night of the Pumpkin, but his most notable movie came in 2019 with the horror movie hit The Shed. Frank is a true student of the movie business to this day. He shares some refreshing and honest opinions and advice for anyone trying to follow their dreams. We also had the chance to talk about his favourite horror movies and the horror franchise that he would love to work on. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. So, I at least would consider, I don't know, on a, I guess like you're talking about there from a maybe a studio standpoint or whatever, what is considered successful or not successful. I would have said The Shed. I mean, I'm on the other side of the world and it was quite talked about here, and I know in the UK it was the same, and it really did do the rounds.
Yeah.
How,
awesome.
How was that for you? Like to see that then, I guess, get so much attention.
You know, it's funny. So I was in the UK, was it 2019? I was in Manchester for Grimfest.
Mm-hmm.
That was the UK premiere of The Shed. And I'd never been to the UK before. I'd never been to England before. And it was really awesome that I was playing there, and it was really awesome to go there. I was not prepared for the difference between an American audience and an English audience. Mm-hmm. Like an American audience, when they like a movie, when something cool happens in the movie, people like shout, holler, applaud. People get really psyched and really into it. English audiences, as I discovered, are very polite. Mm-hmm. So like they did not make a sound through the movie. So I was thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm like, they must hate this. And that's what I was feeling. I thought they thought the movie sucked because like nobody said a word through the movie. But then during the Q&A and after, people were like ultra enthusiastic. So I said to one of the festival programmers, I was like, what the hell? And she explained to me, she's like, no, English audiences are very, they don't want to make a sound. She's like, that means they loved it. If they're talking or yelling during your movie, that means they don't like it. And I was like, all right, so it's reversed. It was just really cool for me to see like other countries embracing the film. I didn't even realize until you contacted me a little while ago mm-hmm. That it was that popular in Ireland, because I don't have like direct, it's not like I'm not getting the direct reports personally as to like how many people and the distributor probably knows how many people are into it, but I didn't really know how much people liked it. I wasn't even sure it was released in Ireland yet.
Yeah.
So that was like a surprise to me. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was in Ireland. I knew it was in the UK, and Ireland is part of the UK, correct?
Yes and no. Yeah.
Yeah. Forgive my ignorance but yeah, so I wasn't sure that it was like fully released in Ireland. So I don't know. I mean, it's awesome, but on like when you're on this like individual level, it doesn't feel, how can I explain it? If you don't know the information, you can't get excited about it, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I knew it was being released in these territories, but I have no idea how the UK fully responded to its release. I have no idea how Ireland really responded to its release. All I know is like what you're telling me now. Mm-hmm. So it's, unless you're, as a filmmaker, unless you're at some of the premieres, I think that's the only way you get like direct feedback and excitement. And I don't read reviews. I learned that with Blood Night. Don't read the reviews, because if you ever feel good about yourself and then you start reading reviews, you will immediately not feel good about yourself. Even like when you have like an overall positive review, and then sometimes there's like, it's like, oh, it was a great movie, it was awesome, this, that, and the other thing, except for this one part I didn't like you'll just harp on that one bad thing that they said, it'll ruin your day. So I don't read reviews at all. I don't Google myself. I don't look up my movies. Like once I'm done with it, I'm done with it. So I don't really get the experience of like knowing how Ireland reacted or the UK fully reacted, except for the screenings that I was at. I was at a screening in Spain, which was amazing. And the screening in Manchester was great. And my hometown screening in New York, that was amazing. But other than that, I haven't really been involved in like how people really feel about it.
Yeah, because that was something I was going to ask as regards do you think it's good to look up reviews, or maybe because sometimes people, I guess, have a fear of sitting back and basking in their own glory or whatever, in case you go too much that way and then forget about the actual mission?
I'm probably too much the other way. I should probably bask in my glory a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'm very conscious of not wanting to feel egotistical. I don't want to feel I'm not an egotistical person. I'm not a pretentious person. But I think to that end, maybe I don't give myself enough credit at times. But overall, I just found for myself, I can't speak for anyone else. My personal thing was like, I don't like reading reviews. It never makes me feel good. Even the good reviews don't fully make me feel good. They only make me feel, I don't know, maybe inadequate or something like that. Because like I said, even if it's a good review, but then there's one thing that's like, oh, but I didn't like the final act, or I didn't like this thing, I'll harp on that negative aspect more than, there could be 20 good things and 2 bad things, and I'll just be focused on the bad things. So I personally just stopped reading all reviews. I don't know what to tell other filmmakers out there. Some filmmakers might read negative reviews and be like, yeah, well, fuck you. I'll just do it better next time. And like, if that's their attitude, great. I think you have to decide that as an individual. Personally, reviews and me, no thanks.
Yeah, I guess maybe it works for some people, but you're definitely, I've even experienced that on a way smaller scale, and so many other people I've talked to have mentioned, it doesn't matter if I get 1 million positive reviews, 5 out of 5. It's that one person, even if it's a troll.
Yes.
It's just that one person that I just cannot forget.
Especially with the internet, it's like, it actually makes me laugh how like, there's just always somebody on the internet that just wants to be a dick. Yeah. And it's like, what is your problem? You can like, you can read like a review of like yogurt. Like somebody be like, oh, this is the most delicious yogurt ever. And then there's that one guy that's like, this yogurt sucks. You're a fucking moron. And it's like, okay. Like, so I don't know. I just stay away from it. I'm content to do the work. Like I said, I feel really good after I'm completely wrapped up on a project and it's done and I can sit back and be like, whew, that was crazy. And then I want to take some time to recollect myself. The last thing I want to do is read reviews.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's funny actually, because on a lot of those places, I see it on IMDb a lot now. There's like another group of people who I guess kind of troll the trolls. They'll always pop in. I notice this a lot, and I think it's especially with horror because people, I don't want to say it's like an easy target, but so many people just find the need to shit on horror movies for some reason.
For sure.
And now we've got like, I noticed there seems to be like a collective of people who jump back in to, I guess, save movies in a way that are just being shit on for no reason, whether it's like a meme thing on the internet or, maybe it makes it to Reddit and it's like, oh, hey, everyone go to this movie and let's all shit on it and give it 1 star. And it's just like, how pathetic.
That's cool that there's people out there that want to at least rescue it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find that, I don't know if it's just a horror movie thing, but I mean, I work in horror, so I see it more. I think there's also, I think a lot of horror movie, I think horror movie fans have high expectations for horror. Sometimes unreasonably so, because horror is notoriously low budget filmmaking one way or another. I think a lot of horror fans out there are possibly even jealous when they see a horror filmmaker succeed. Because I think a lot of horror filmmakers like myself or other filmmakers are horror fans. You know what I mean? Yeah. As we said earlier, I've always been a fan of horror movies and of the culture of horror. It's just always been a thing. So for me to go on and become a filmmaker and a somewhat successful filmmaker, I think that there's other horror fans that want to be like, well, I'm a bigger horror fan and I'm a better horror fan and I think your movie sucks. And it's like, okay, like whatever, then don't watch it. But I think that hatred sort of probably comes from maybe like a jealous sense. Because I think think horror fans can be, especially a lot now, it's like they want to prove who's the bigger, better horror fan. Like, I've seen more obscure movies than you, and I know more horror than you, and and it's like, all right, whatever, who cares, man? It's like, so I think it sort of breeds this culture of like hate among fans and filmmakers. And then don't get me wrong, there's also the horror fans that are like awesome horror fans that are just like grateful that it's like, yes, there's more awesome horror movies coming out. You know what I mean? And those fans are amazing too. So, I mean, I hate to blame the internet for everything, but there's this culture of hate on the internet that certainly targets horror movies and horror fans a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's it's a strange one, and not to, I guess, seem like I'm being negative or harp on that, but I'm a huge MMA guy as well. And it's weird. I see a lot of crossover there between especially like, since guys like Conor McGregor and stuff have come along, a lot of armchair experts, a lot of people in Ireland who do not like the fact that some guy who was on social welfare payments done what he done. Whether you like him or not is irrelevant, just from I guess what he was able to do. And I definitely feel that with some sides of the horror community, there's and a lot of times I don't actually do it on purpose, but I would post about something like I really enjoyed the remake or the reimagining of Texas Chainsaw in 2003. It's just a fun movie. I never mentioned the original. I didn't say anything about it, and like so many people were like DMing me on Instagram going like, "You fucking dick." That's like spitting in Toby Hooper's face. It's just, and I'm like, okay.
I like I really like the Black Christmas remake from 2006.
Yep.
I also love the original Black Christmas, and I feel like I can love both of them for different reasons. But if I dare mention that I like the 2006 remake, people are like, "You fucking jerk!" Like, and I'm like, "It's a good movie. Like, it's fun. It's a cool slasher movie. It really has nothing to do with the original Black Christmas. So who cares?" I like the Dawn of the Dead remake from 2004. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of remakes I don't like. I don't like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I don't hate you for liking it though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can see there are likable elements of it, but I prefer the original. It doesn't make me any better than you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. People are weird. People are competitive, and I think also with horror fans, maybe the thing that we're both overlooking, horror is very personal to horror fans. You know what I mean? It's a personal thing. So for me, I would say my favorite slasher genre of all time is definitely the Friday the 13th series. The original Paramount ones. I don't really care for like Part 8 or any of those beyond, but and they're personal to me because, like I said, Friday the 13th was one of the first horror movies I ever saw, and it was such an important aspect of my life growing up, which sounds strange, but it is. And so when somebody is like, "Oh, I fucking hate Friday the 13th," there is a part of me that's like kind of hurt. You know what I mean? But it doesn't make me, you sort of take it personal, but I think I'm like intelligent enough to be like, all right, this person's not attacking me. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But there are some people that, like, if you're like, "Oh, I don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre," or "I prefer the remake," they take it personal, and then they want to defend that, and then their defense becomes violent or angry or whatever. Yeah. That's my theory. That's what I think.
It's the internet really hasn't helped with a lot of that stuff for social media.
You know what I think a lot of heat for, and this might even bother you. I'm not a fan of the Halloween films. Like, Michael Myers, does nothing for me. I think the films they're okay. I think they're boring. And I think the storyline is a mess. And people go crazy when you say you don't like Michael Myers or Halloween. So I get a lot of shit for that too. But again, I think it just goes back to people have personal connections to these films and these characters, and they do take it personal,
Yeah,
and it's not to say I don't hate Halloween films, but I don't have that passion for them that so many fans do,
Yeah, I get that. And I could probably, in a way, relate what you said to about Friday the 13th, maybe in a way to some of the Halloween movies. But again, for me, if I was to stand back and look at it, storyline's a mess. Don't like a lot of aspects of the movies. There's some parts I just can't watch. If I watch the movie, I just like skip that scene, or I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Sure.
Like I really enjoy Halloween H2O, for example. A lot of things wrong with it. Don't know which timeline it really is in or what it's for. It was just a bit of fun. But again, that's another thing. Like when I say that to somebody, that I have a lot of nostalgia for different maybe Halloween movies, and then I don't like other parts. People just Halloween Resurrection, for example. I don't know why, but I have like this special place just for that opening scene with Jamie Lee in the insane asylum, and I don't really care for the rest of the movie. But anytime I say anything about that movie, it's like, what? So you like Halloween Resurrection, but you don't like this and you don't like that? I'm like, whoa, Jesus, it's just a movie,
right?
It's fine.
Everybody wants you to conform to their feeling of whatever, and I don't know. I just feel how you feel. Social media has made it's like a pissing contest. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm more horror than you, and I like Halloween more than you. I like it so much that I like every part of it. And it's like, okay, dude, whatever. Like, it's a personal thing,
On the topic of Friday the 13th, actually, I'm assuming you've seen all the stuff that's going on with that now, with the lawsuits and etc.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see that go from there, or is it better to just leave it alone?
I would like to see the lawsuits kind of get cleaned up. I wasn't a fan of the Friday the 13th remake from 2009, was it?
Yep.
I really didn't like it at all. I didn't like the way Jason looked. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like the feeling of it. I have ideas for a Friday the 13th that I would love to have the opportunity to pitch. I'm not going to say what they are on this podcast right now, but so for my own selfish interests of wanting to direct a Friday the 13th, I would love to see it have some life again. But aside from my own feelings, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm happy to let just the original films just exist and it never go on. But also I'm not opposed to seeing some new Friday the 13th stuff if it's good, and if it's bad, I just won't watch it. Like I did with I saw the 2009 remake. I was like, all right, I don't like this, so I'll just never watch it again.
Yeah.
And that's it. It doesn't ruin my feelings towards, the original films.
Yeah.
So I love Jason, and I would like to see him on the big screen again, and I would like to see me directing that film, but who knows?
That was actually something that I was going to ask, and somebody messaged me and asked if you could write or direct an existing franchise or IP, what would you choose and why? I'm assuming it's Friday the 13th, right?
Friday the 13th, just because I absolutely love it so much. And I genuinely think I could bring a passion to it that I think some of the newer Friday the 13th lack. I think that the way that I love the series so much, and I love the story, and I love the mythology of Jason so much, I think that I could turn that into a good movie. I think that I would bring something to the series that fans like myself of the series would connect to. And while also, I think newcomers could also connect to the vision that I have for it.
That's something I feel like as well happens a lot. There's a lot of times a huge disconnect maybe, but I guess studios get into the business of making movies because it is Friday the 13th, or it is Halloween, or it is, whatever it might be, Scream or Hellraiser. And like, you can really feel that. I think that's what I meant earlier when I mentioned like even some of your short movies. There's a huge disconnect between maybe some of the shorts I've seen. I won't name the companies, but there's companies that pump out shorts that I'm like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to cash in on that thing that other guys have built the foundation for.
Right.
There's always a huge disconnect with some of that stuff, and maybe that's why the fans are like wolves when this stuff comes out.
Right.
It would be nice to see somebody who, I guess cares in a way. Not to say those people don't care, but I guess I listened to Rob Zombie on Joe Rogan a couple of years back, and he talked about his experience remaking Halloween and just how possessive everybody got after the first couple of weeks, and it just became a disaster. It wasn't even, it was just like I was brought on so we could have Rob Zombie's Halloween. I wasn't really, I was making some other dude's movie in a way, which is kind of disappointing.
Right. I liked some of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I really didn't care for the most recent Halloween. And again, I'm not the biggest Halloween fan, but I did go to see it, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people, and including me at the time, like I was like super pumped. And I think maybe coming away from it, I like told myself it was better in my head. I was like, oh, it was so good. It was this, it was that. And I feel like a lot of people have had this opinion on it now since it's been out a little while, and now we had the delay with the sequel. I see a lot of people online, a lot of the feedback seems to be, when people are posting about Halloween Kills, yeah, no, it's just going to be Halloween 2018 again. It's like, I can't really argue with that. It probably will be.
Right. Well, you never know. I mean, hopefully it's good. I hope for all the Halloween fans out there that it kicks some ass.
What are some of your favorite horror movies? Or I always ask people comfort horror, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
I love the comfort horror phrase. I have so much comfort horror movies. Probably a lot of them are ones you're definitely already going to know. Sleepaway Camp, like every summer.
Yeah.
I watched that movie probably like 50 times. It's just like, I just love everything about it so much. Any of the first 6 Friday the 13th are comfort horror to me. I can watch those on repeat. But especially comforting to me for some reason is part 3, 5, and 6. For some reason, those just like feel really good. Even part 4, I don't know. Elm Street 3 for sure is good comfort horror. Movie. The Reanimator, for some reason, I could like watch that all day, every day. I just love it. Trying to think what else. The original Texas Chainsaw. Really, most of just like the heavy hitters that like we all know, and like it's really just the stuff I really grew up with in the 80s. Really, just always just feels like home to me.
Was there ever any thought in maybe trying to do a sleepaway camp, modern day, or well, you know what I mean?
No, I've definitely been toying with the idea recently of doing another slasher film and possibly set at a camp, just because I just love the premise of it. I've never considered doing a sleepaway camp directly, so to speak. I did work with Samantha Hahn, who was in Blood Night, was also in Sleepaway Camp. What was the 4th one? Return to Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. She was in Return to Sleepaway Camp. So that was really cool to like become really good friends with her over the years too. So I like having that like somewhat of a connection to the series, you know what I mean? But I've never actually considered myself being a part of the Sleepaway Camp universe.
If a lot of people messaged me when I mentioned that I was going to be talking with you, and nobody really asked for any specific advice, but it was more so advice for somebody who is following a dream. Maybe that's not your 9 to 5. It's not
right.
A lot of the people I think that listen to this stuff and are interested in these things, maybe, want to be a filmmaker or want to be a producer or something that's a little bit maybe off the,
sure,
your doctor or whatever. What advice would you give someone, I guess, to, stay the course or?
I guess staying the course is the advice.
Yeah.
I mean, like stay the course. I think having a support system is very important, meaning have people around you that hopefully will support you and not make you feel foolish about. I haven't had the best support system. Sort of, and earlier, I had to kind of like become my own support system, because whenever you endeavor to do something that's outside of the norm, most people are going to try to talk you out of it. Yeah. You know, like whatever it may be. I mean, I've been saying, you know, since I was like 19 years old, I've been like, all right, I'm going to be a filmmaker. I am a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. I'm going to do this. Right. If 23-year-old me could see me now with like 2 feature films on you in Ireland, like 23-year-old me would be like, holy shit, you fucking did it. You know what I mean? So, but when I was 23, I had I had nothing. I had no idea that I would ever come as far as I have. And I know I have a million miles still to go. So I think it's important to, if you don't have a support system, support yourself and do things, like I said earlier, either write yourself letters. I mean, like if you were to see my apartment, I have like signs everywhere that are like reminding me, like, you know, you're doing great, or keep writing, or keep up the good work, whatever. Like somehow fill your mind with positive ideas, because everyone around you is even if they mean well, they're probably going to try to talk you out of it. Whatever it is you're after, if it's not like, hey, I'm going to keep my job at the, you know, whatever, I'm going to keep my office job and work 9 to 5 and have my steady paycheck, which, don't get me wrong, those things are fine and noble. However, if your soul endeavors to strive for something more, you want something more, you want to create, or whatever your goal is, whatever it may be, doesn't have to even be a filmmaker. It could be anything. Whatever that is, people around you are probably going to be like, but look, you know, man, you got to like, you know, stay in reality, or stay this, or, you know, whatever. Like, just kind of smile and nod and like do what you want to do anyway. You know what I mean? Like, don't let other people's ideas interfere with your idea for yourself. And sometimes that means not expressing your ideas to certain people. And that's something I learned after a while too, where I was like, all right, there are certain people I know, anytime I bring up something I'm planning to do, they try to talk me out of it, or they point out all the reasons it's going to fail, or how it might fail, or why it's a bad idea. So I stopped talking to those people about it. You know what I mean? I don't cut those people out of my life, but I'm not like, hey, I'm writing an awesome screenplay, because they're going to be like, oh, well, how do you know it's awesome, or how do you know it's going to be good, or blah, blah, blah. You know, and they're just going to start filling me with doubt. So my best advice is stay the course, disregard any doubt or any fears that you have as best as you can, and realize that sometimes these things take a long time. Like I said, I started writing The Shed in 2013. We didn't film it to 2018. You know what I mean? So you have to be prepared for the long haul. You got to be in it for the long game, and just stick with your determination and do everything you can as best as you can. I think that's the best advice I can give. And I still have to give myself that advice every day. So
that's really refreshing to hear, though. It's very real, because I think a lot of people go through that stuff and maybe either don't want to, you know, talk about it, because then they feel worse. So a lot of people bottle that up. But I definitely do feel like there needs to be more. I guess a lot of times as well, like you said, there's probably people close to you that a lot of times maybe don't even mean to put you down, but everybody has become so accustomed maybe to, like I see it a lot here in Ireland. There's a very I don't want to say old fashioned, but it's very maybe if you're not doing one of 10 things, you're obviously, there's something not right with you, or, you know, you're a little bit of a failure, or he's doing whatever. And it's like,
they're not going to believe you until you succeed. And that's the thing. Anytime somebody deviates from the beaten path, the people that only take the beaten path are going to do everything they can to try to pull you back on the beaten path. And I think there's a psychology to that. I think that the reason you find people trying to talk you out of things is not necessarily nefarious, that they want you to feel bad. I think they want you to, they're afraid for you. They don't want you to fail. And be bad. But I think the other thing is, I think there's a part of themselves that, since they've chosen the beaten path, if you go off the beaten path and you succeed in some way, that might make them reflect on themselves and be like, oh shit, maybe I could have done that thing I really wanted to do. You know, it's maybe similar to the, like we were saying earlier with the like hater fans that are like, this guy sucks, whatever. And the reason they're saying that is because they want to be a filmmaker and they haven't followed that path. So I think those are all things to keep in mind as you forge your own way through whatever goal you have for yourself. And I think it comes back to, in your mind, you have yourself today for that. Like I said, I was saying I was a director before I ever directed anything.
Yeah.
So whatever you are, you are that today. You want to be a pastry chef and you've never cooked a pastry, doesn't matter. From today on, you're a fucking pastry chef.
Yeah, that's something I think a lot of people, and it was like alluding back to a few minutes ago, you know, social media, the internet hasn't, I guess, helped people in, I know there's a lot of positive, you know, things you can find on the internet, but you really have to seek them out. The negative is what seems to be the mainstream because people want it's like that thing, I guess. I mean, you see a car crash, like how many people, you know, nearly fall out the window, try and see or take video or whatever, or someone's getting their ass beat. Everybody stands around and videos it rather than help. And it just kind of shows that, I guess, it's in a way like that's a lot of people, I guess, self-reflecting. It's like, well, Frank has done what, if Frank does well and, you know, I told him he couldn't do it or I didn't do what I wanted to do, it's going to make me think about that more. So it's like, nah, don't do it. Don't even try, dude.
And I think whatever your goal you're trying to attain, do your best to find people and connect with people that have obtained it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you know, if all your friends, you know, I don't know, work in a factory, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to be a director, find a friend that's a director, or on the internet, just reach out, you know, just, hey man, I admire what you do. Just wanted to touch base. You start, you know, doesn't mean you have to disregard your factory friends. And there's nothing wrong with working in a factory. I'm just setting an example. But connect with people if you can that are doing what you're doing or doing what you want to be doing. You know, get yourself into those circles however you can. A lot of my friends are filmmakers because I've cultivated those relationships over the years. Mm-hmm. Or if they're not filmmakers, they're somewhere in the industry somehow. They're relevant to it, so that. And a lot of my friends also aren't. I have tons of friends that are not in the filmmaking industry and have 9-to-5 jobs and things like that. It doesn't mean we're not friends, but they can't understand what I do. So I need to have friends that are in the creative business as well, so that you just continue to surround yourself with that, you know, and it also reminds you, oh, this is possible for people, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Since I've started to take this this whole podcast thing a little more serious, I mean, never did I, without sounding like I'm brown nosing, I didn't ever think in a million years that, you know, somebody who had made movies that I would use to cope with real life, that I would be, you know, sitting in front of them theoretically, having a conversation about something like this. So I guess it doesn't always mean that, you know, I guess people will answer out, or if you message Steven Spielberg, he's going to come back and say, hey, let's be best friends, let's do this or that. But I do definitely think that there's something to, you know, getting in that ecosystem. And I think that brings in positivity then, because like you said, if you've got people who have just succumbed to the beaten path, which is a lot of people in the world have succumbed to that, and it's just the way it is. The news told me, the government told me, or whoever you want to blame, and people just, you know, you just live and die, and that's whatever. They're never going to get it, I don't think. And I don't think it's your job to make them get it.
No, they don't have to get it. That's the thing. You know, I have family members that have never watched any of my films, and like, they have a hard time acknowledging that I'm a filmmaker. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like they haven't come to my premieres. They've been invited and they don't come. It's like, okay. And it's like, whatever, you know, like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, but that's just how it is, you know?
Yeah.
So you just you have to find the people that will support you, or at least will, you know, acknowledge in a positive way, hey, yeah, do your thing, you know, and just get in touch with those, you know, maybe like you said, maybe if you're probably, chances are you're not going to message Steven Spielberg and he's going to be like, hey kid, let's be pals. Mm-hmm. But maybe there's another filmmaker that you like, or you like their movie or something, and they're on Instagram, and you could just be like, hey dude, just wanted to say I like your movie and I'd like to be a filmmaker. And they might respond to you. Mm-hmm. They also might not, who knows? But I think it's important to cultivate relationships. You know, it doesn't even have to be filmmaker to filmmaker. One of my best friends is a poster designer. He's not a filmmaker, but we still connect because it's the same thing. You know, he left a beaten path job. He had a solid beaten path job, and he left that to pursue being a designer. And he's one of the biggest designers in the industry now. You know, you've probably seen a lot of his, you know, Say to Start designs. Mm-hmm. He does like wax albums and like Mondo, and he does posters for like. So he's one of my best friends, and when he started Say to Start Designs, like something like 8 or 9 years ago, something like that, he was in a completely different field, and he was not doing design work. And he just one day was like, no, fuck it. This is what I want to do. And he did it. And everybody in his life was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. He did it anyway. And now he has his personal success. And me and him are buddies, and we connect on that level of understanding. You can succeed in life without taking the beaten path. You can forge your own way.
Yeah.
But it takes strength and guts and a little bit of support.
Yeah, and I do feel that 100% to what you're saying in the regards of, I mean, a lot of people maybe want to do things because of Instagram. I think some people look at things and think, you know, I want to be a vlogger, I want to be a director, I want to be this. That's not, I don't think, really what we're talking about. It's more if there is something that you really, really, really just cannot, you mentioned soul earlier when you said, like, I can't remember the exact quote, but something to do with, you know, doing that thing and it's basically destroying your soul. The idea of not being able to do that one thing, if that's how you feel, then I do think that it will work out. Now, you may not be, you know, James Wan, or you may not get to a massive, but if you can live, you know, I guess a happy, content life, you know, look after yourself financially to a degree, it doesn't always have to be, you know, the Conor McGregor story or the whatever.
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I just think it's...
But you should always, like, my feeling is strive for the Conor McGregor story. Aim, if you aim so high and you fall short of that, you're still landing somewhere further than you would have been. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100%. And like a lot of times it can get to that. I mean, I'm not...
It totally can. And I would say the reverse is, if you don't reach Conor McGregor level of fame, don't beat yourself up over it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, allow yourself to be like, all right, well, fine, I'm not Conor McGregor, but I'm still whatever. And you can just keep going. Just keep yourself going. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do. It is difficult to not choose the beaten path. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more rewarding.
But yeah, 100%.
Like I said, if 23-year-old me could see myself now, my 23-year-old mind would be blown, because I don't even know the things that I've accomplished now. I don't even know if 23-year-old me thought was possible at the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I still have so much more I want to do and want to accomplish, but I have to remind myself of that fact, you know?
Yeah, and I think when you really care like you do, that desire or that goal setting never really goes away. Like, I can't imagine how you'd feel if you were to think about, you know, if I spent the last 10, 15 years in a factory or in a grocery store. Again, there's nothing wrong with those jobs if you're happy with that. But if you were to do that every day, day in, day out for years, but, you know, kind of think to yourself, what if I had made that movie?
Right. Right. You don't want to be stuck with what ifs. You don't want to be stuck, like, just try it. You know what I'm saying? Shoot your shot, as they say, you know, because you don't want to be stuck with that yearning inside of you and then never even attempting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least, like, take the shot, figure it out, figure out how can you achieve that next thing that you want to achieve, you know?
Right. So I have two final things I want to bring up before I let you go, because I know you're a busy guy. Future projects. Is there anything? I know you probably can't outright talk about anything, but what should we expect from you? Or
So I am working on a project right now that I can't really talk about. It's in the early development. It's in early development stages. I'm working with two other filmmakers. And we are working on an anthology project, though it's not going to be my sole anthology. So it's going to have a lot of different flavors in it.
Nice.
That's one thing. And I am working on a feature that is an original feature of my own. And I'm also working on a screenplay feature that I don't know if it will happen or not, but it would theoretically be a remake of a classic property if it gets made. But
oh, wow.
Of course, I actually can't name any of these things.
Yeah, of course. I always get that.
I would like to, but I can't, just because, like, you know, none of the paperwork is official and things like that. So you can't actually say what's what.
Okay, so final question. Why horror, and what does it mean to you?
You're going to give me the hardest question last.
All right.
Why horror, and what does it mean to me? I don't know. I think why horror, I can't say. It's been present in my life since I was a child. I think maybe just that one day seeing Friday the 13th Part 2, just something happened in my brain that it just stayed. So my whole life I've just always been interested in monsters and stuff, and it's part of me. It's like ensconced in my being.
Yeah.
What it means to me, I think, the way you said comfort horror before, I think there's a comfort in it, in the sense that when you watch a good horror movie or you read a good horror story or something like that, you're experiencing a controlled state of anxiety where you can safely experience the feeling of terror without being in danger. And that leads to a release. So you watch a horror movie, your heart beats a little faster, your blood's pumping, and then there's the big scare, and then you maybe like laugh it off, or there's a funny moment or something. So I think it gives you the safe experience of certain types of anxiety, and then the release of that anxiety. And then there's a physical and mental reward to that. And I think those of us that understand horror and feel horror, I think that's something we all get a comfort from. So I think that's probably what horror means to me. It's just a way to deal with whatever is going on in life. And I think ultimately on the bigger scale, it's a way to comprehend, I guess, our instinctual fear of death, you know? And I think it takes the idea of being afraid of death and brings it to such a ridiculous level that we can, in a weird way, enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that just from hearing you say that, it just makes me think. For so many years, I didn't really think about why I was, because a lot of people, I guess, well, at least around here, people who are not into horror, would consider me, I guess, obsessed in a way. And I never really got why. I was like, oh, well, it's the same reason I like coffee, because I just like it and there is no reason.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I was like, wait, why does this keep becoming a thing? Like, there was even a point in life where I went through a really rough time and I tried to maybe convince myself, I was like, this stuff is dumb. You know, I don't know why I collect movies, and I don't know why I care about movies. I'm using this to get away from reality. And I'm like, you know, I tried to convince myself that I was like hiding behind this like fake thing.
Like a fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just kept coming back. And I was like, why is there this thing in me that wants to, you know, connect with people like yourself, tell these stories, get to know these people, maybe help guys who were like way down, get their short movie, a little bit of exposure or whatever.
Sure.
And it's like, why do I want to do that? And then the more I think about it, and it definitely does feed to what you said, where I think it brings people, certain movies bring people back to certain places. It definitely, the older I've gotten and, like some family members have passed away or, people I've been close to, it makes me start to think about that. I don't want to say impending doom, but I mean, everybody's going to die, and it's something that you probably don't think about a lot of times. And I've made a lot of decisions in my life based off of maybe never dying. So I'm not going to do this thing because, look, I've got all the time in the world, so I can just work in this job forever, and not realizing that someday I'll wake up and go, oh, wow, now I'm the old guy sitting at the bar that's saying, don't be me. I think
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's a strange
one. Like you said, when you think, you sort of realize you're not going to live forever. I've seen people in my life also that have passed away, and even my father passed away almost 3 years ago, and he worked his whole life. My father was an incredible artist. He worked his whole life, and then retired and really got back into his art, and then he died just a couple years later. And it's like he really didn't. He retired and died. You know what I mean?
You
and
get to get that thing out.
A few people have, then it's like, that sucks. I don't want that to be me. I don't want to just retire and die. There's an author, Wayne Dyer, who has an expression: "Don't die with your music still inside of you." And I think that's a very elegant way of putting it. If whatever your music is, obviously he doesn't mean just music as a musician. Don't die with your passion within you. Like let it out, let it be whatever it is. Like get that out, put your stuff out there. And I think we did a lot of smack talking about the internet and social media today. But let me say one good thing about social media. It has afforded all of us, in a sense, the equal opportunity to connect with an audience, right? You can, whatever your thing is, whatever it is, you can connect with an audience. I mean, there are bakers that are connecting with audiences. There are painters that are creating audiences. There are strippers that are connecting with, you know what I'm saying? Like any single thing you do, there are bloggers that write about, how I feed my baby. They've connected with an audience. Like, and you could take any single subject, any single topic, whatever it is, you will find your people. You will find your audience. So that is a plus of the social media age. You have unlimited free access to your audience. Yeah,
that's true. And I think if maybe you just use it as that and look at it that way and try, like you've said, and I'm sure, I don't want to say it didn't, I don't think it played a role in the success of, say, a movie like The Shed, but it can't hurt to have, all these people online that talk about the movie and whatever. It's just being able to disconnect from those other internet people who like to just shit on things or like to just put people down.
Right. I think if I was better at using social media, I'm really not a great social media person. Like I don't post a lot, and I don't utilize it well. I think I'm just like, I just missed understanding how to really utilize it well. I think if I did, maybe I could have attracted an even bigger audience to this shed if I understood, or if I had somebody on my team that understood social media better. But also, you still can. The shed was successful anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it still could find more life. And maybe I will find somebody to be like, hey, you could be my social media person. I suck at it, but you're good at it, so help me out, it's an option. It's another tool that is available to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go now because I could ramble and ramble and ramble, especially about stuff like that.
We could pick up again if you want another time.
Yeah, of course, man. Maybe when you've got a little bit more down the line with projects. I know sometimes it's hard to chat when, things haven't been signed off on. For anybody who is listening, the links for Frank's social media and stuff will be down below, and all his movies. I'll link everywhere. It'll be for the UK and Ireland. I'm not sure about the States. I'll try and find the links, but they'll all be down below wherever you guys are listening to the podcast. And thanks everybody for listening.
Support First Class Horror on Patreon for as little as $1. Can't get enough of the horror? Carve yourself a deal from official merchandise only on Teespring. Join us on all social media at First Class Horror. We have such sights to show you.